You want to take a chair, Wookie?
I'm just picking one. Definitely need a little extra lighting back here. It's much more cozy looking.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm all set.
Okay.
If you are guys all set.
Yeah, so we'll just do our intro, then we'll kind of point at you and let you introduce yourself, and then we'll just kind of start talking.
Okay.
Kind of go
Sounds
off the.
cool.
I don't know if you got like the topic list, but we'll kind of just go with the flow and ask you questions, so it's not a huge deal.
Okay, you can ask me the questions, and yeah, we can go with that.
Okay. So we're gonna record the video. We normally will stream, but as this is our first time here, we're just gonna record in case something crazy happens. But the camera is like right here, kind of facing the video screen, just so you know. So if you see us pointing at the camera, you kind of know why.
Yeah, okay, it's fine.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to VR Verdict Podcast, episode 106, our weekly podcast where we talk about everything VR. I'm PJ.
I'm Wookie.
And today we're joined
Hello,
by...
I'm Attila from the VR Storm Studios.
Yeah, we're here talking about your game Beanstalkers.
Yeah, it will just release multiplayer beta today.
Awesome. Yeah.
If everything's right.
Yeah, I can't wait to try that out. You've been in, it launched on Steam, it was in September, I believe. And is that early access, right?
Yeah, we are currently in early access.
Okay. Yeah, and as you said, multiplayer beta came out today. How's that going so far? Any good feedback or?
No, it's not out yet.
Oh, okay.
It's still like a good 10 hours, maybe more, until we release it. So because of it's today for us.
Gotcha.
But since you are in a different time zone, it is 1 a.m. at us right now. So the day just started. We have 23 hours to release the.
So when do you sleep?
Yeah, I'm usually asleep around this time, but
okay.
It's not rare to be up for interviews, and since most of our traffic is from the USA, we have to adjust for the time zone.
Sure.
Especially for the live events.
Yeah, that's got to be rough after a while. So tell us a little about the game Beanstalkers. Like, where did the idea come from, and what do you kind of do?
Yes, so it happened around 2 years back, or 3 maybe. It was 2019, if I remember right. Me and the founders of the studio was playing around in VR basically, and I made a little demo about climbing. And we just liked the demo at that point, so we started hiring some people to start working on the first versions of Beanstalker. But it was in early development. It was really different. The whole vision and the whole game was heading in a different direction at that time. We wanted to release on the Quest platform.
Sure.
But you have to get permission for that to access the Quest store from Oculus.
Mm-hmm.
And they quite didn't respond to our email.
Oh, that's nice.
we waited around for a while, but after not getting answer, and eventually we get a negative answer from after like 2 months or something. But that time we already made the decision to go to Steam instead
Sure.
of. But with the change of the platform, we changed the game too. So we went from a small game with a low poly design and all that. We upgraded everything to high poly and more PC VR stuff.
Yeah.
A lot more features and mechanics and all that.
Yeah, I played the game probably a couple months ago now, and like I told you guys this already, but it's one of the most original VR games I've played, where you're climbing the beanstalk and you're just kind of going up, 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 and up. I think it's awesome, and it's you can tell from the video for those watching, like it's beautiful. Like I'm a very much PC VR guy. Like I love the Quest and everything, but PC VR is my favorite because it's just the more you can do and the prettier things look and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, we like the design and the features of the game very much as well. I mean, we developed it, so who would like it if not us? Also, the multiplayer is great fun to play around in multiplayer. I personally was not able to try it out in multiplayer, but we had a stream. I mean, 2 or 3 days ago, where we showed around some multiplayer footage. We had that on
Awesome.
Twitch.
Very cool.
What's the major changes? Do any of the mechanics change with the co-op or the multiplayer, or does it?
No, our main direction was to, since players like the single player, so the feedback was positive, mostly positive. We wanted to keep the game as much close to the single player as we could. So everything that you do in single player, you do exactly the same way in multiplayer. So you said you played the game already. So you must know about the consumables, like the items that heals you, like the mango and the potion.
Yep.
So yeah, those items. If you are playing multiplayer and some of the players die, you can feed them consumables and they will be revived.
Nice.
Also, you can feed them consumables just during the game. So you can hold a consumable to another player's mouth and you can feed him and heal him like a support role.
Nice.
It's like a dating sim now.
Yes, exactly.
Strawberries.
Get out of here. Can you do anything crazy? Like and for those who haven't seen or played, like you climb up these giant beanstalks, and like I was jumping off. Like if you're afraid of heights, this might be an issue for someone, but I was just jumping and leaping, and you have these 2 grapple hooks and just clinging onto the sides. Can you like take your partner and like swing them and throw them over to another vine or anything like that? Or?
The most crazy stuff we have right now in multiplayer is every player has a little grab point on his back. So you can actually another player can come and grab that point on his back. It's a little handle on your back.
Nice.
And if you grab it, you will move along with the other player. So if one player uses the grappling hook or something and you are grabbed to his back, you just fly along with him. And the funny thing is that multiple players can like chain grab each other. So it's like a chain of 4 people, and the first one using the grappling hook, and all the players go along with him. It's really funny.
They could all like hook on and just start shooting stuff while somebody's doing the motion.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really cool.
That's really neat because like I don't get VR sickness. I have very strong VR legs, if you want to call it that. I don't have a fear of heights, but there were still some times where my hands were getting sweaty because I was doing, like I said, jumping around in the air. But if you're playing with someone who's kind of got some issues with that, or someone's not like back in the day, we've had friends that don't like to do like jumping
puzzles. Yeah.
puzzles and stuff. So it's really neat that they can just kind of latch on to you and you can do it quick and get them to a spot. You know, like,
Yeah.
Yeah, the problem is this won't help with VR sickness that much. So if it doesn't like VR moving around by your own decisions, getting moved around by another player, it won't help much with your VR sickness. That I can tell you that
They can
much.
just shut their eyes and hold on until you're
Yeah.
like, okay, we're across the lava pit or whatever you're trying to do.
Yeah, you can notify him. Close your eyes. We are going around.
I would have somebody doing that on my back, and I would just jump off and be free falling. Be like, okay, you can open your eyes, and then they'll just barf all the way down the beanstalk.
Yeah, I mean, the game itself can get really hectic. So we have some testers in the studio who play a lot, and they figured out some really crazy exploits with the movement. So it can get crazy.
So can you kind of take us, like someone starts up the game and they pop in the world, like where do they start and what's kind of their objective? What are they kind of doing while they're playing?
Yes, so what we wanted to achieve with the game is like a sandbox or open experience. We doesn't really want it to tell the player what to do right away. That goes to be a little problematic because players didn't really know what to do. So we introduced a quest system which somewhat leads along the game. So basically the main object of the quest system is to defeat the bosses on each tree. And you can achieve that by climbing up and collecting resources and crafting the tools you require to defeat the bosses. I mean, it goes like if you have more stuff crafted, the boss will be easier.
Sure.
Like much easier. But if you have a limited amount of weapons and tools that you collected along the tree by climbing, you can still defeat the boss, but it will be much harder. You have to work harder during the boss part. So you cannot just cheat the system, and either you loot more or you fight the boss more. So
Right.
yeah, but the basic. Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say I like how you kind of have like halfway points, like you have these little huts that you can hit kind of in the middle of the beanstalk and like take a break, craft, do some stuff. It's really neat.
Yeah, the core loop of the game is go out, grab some loot or complete some objective, and then escape from the tree with your life, one of our extraction points, which has like one extraction point on each level of the tree. Also, if you are able to extract, you will unlock that point and you can go back to it anytime. So it makes the looting a bit easier.
Yeah, that's really neat. So tell us about some of these awesome weapons, because the game has a crazy amount of interesting weapons here. We have some of them on display here, but
oh yeah, yes, of course. Most of the items we have here are from the first map, the Tropical. Also, we have one enemy from the Tropical, and we have the shield right next to you. That's from the Arctic. That's our new item from the latest update. So yeah, probably our most iconic tool is we call it Blade Slammer. This little tool right here, and it's for basic climbing. I guess if you tried the game, you met with that one before.
Yep.
And
you can also zip line on ropes with it. It's really neat.
Yes. Also our so we have one of our core weapons, the crossbow in large here. That's one of the first weapons you will get, except from the little, I don't know its name in English. It's the small stone thrower thingy, like a slingshot. But slingshot,
Yeah.
that's one. You can also have that one, but that's really not handy on the as you start progressing throughout the game. Then we have the double barrel shotgun. Oh yeah, the double barrel shotgun is an Arctic weapon too, so I was wrong there. Yeah, it's a really cool weapon, really strong one, and it's fun to use. Like I love double barrel shotguns in all games, and it's no exception. You can really pack a punch with it, so go heavy
Nice.
on the enemies. We have the snake rifle right here.
Yeah, that's so cool.
It's
The
a-
little snake coming out.
It's a desert rifle, and it's kind of like a small minigun theme. So the barrels rotate around as you shoot, and there are 8 rounds in it, if I remember right. It's really cool. It's not that accurate, but you can still manage stuff with it. And the next item is the grappling hook. It's our basic grappling hook. That was one of the first items in the game when we started developing it. I mean, it doesn't look like that at the first iteration. It's like this is the third one, if I remember right. It's packs 3 grappling charges that you can use up. Most of the people like to use the small grappling hook because it comes with unlimited charges.
Sure.
But this one has a much longer reach, so the small grappling hook only good for short distances, except if you know how to exploit it and go flying around with it. So and the last
I loaded
item
in here and I'm like, what the hell is this? Did they add a missile launcher? I'm like, oh, that's a grappling hook. It looks pretty sweet.
Yeah, thank you. And the last item is the gun shield, which you have on your end. It's basically a shield item that can deflect projectiles, and also has like a ring of shotgun projectiles in the middle
That's
that you
awesome.
can charge off with a single shot. And it has a large spread and a short range. But high damage. So the idea there was kind of like run up to enemies and just charge off the shotgun shells into his face when you're close up. And you can reload items by touching it to your back. So it looks really cool when you run with the shield and shoot once and then recharge it by touching your back. It looks really fun. I love it.
That's a fun mechanic too to reload. That's really neat.
Yeah, we were experimenting with some more complex reload mechanisms, but the game was already like a bit feature heavy and a lot of things to look around for and focus on. So we wanted to make the reloading and the tool handling as simple as possible for the players.
So what's this? This one's a little enlarged.
Oh yeah,
but
that one.
What's this? What's this all about over here? I'm gonna zoom in with the camera.
Yeah, I actually missed that one because it was so big. This is a Soul Blade launcher, which can launch Soul Blades. You can see the Soul Blade on that end.
Yeah.
It's actually, when you load into the gun, it starts like rotating up and got launched at high speed. It's basically a high damage weapon. It's a bit hard to aim because the Soul Blade has a travel time.
Yeah.
But it has a really high damage, so against heavier, bulkier enemies, it can come handy. Also, I guess boss fights can have a use of it because it has such a large damage that bosses go down much quicker.
Yeah, I think when I played, and I could be wrong, but if I remember right, I think I was fighting a large spider, and I had this bad boy out, and I took it down pretty quick.
Yes.
It was satisfying though.
So yeah, I guess that's all the assets we sent you.
Nice.
Oh no, there is one more enemy right here.
Yeah,
I mean the 2 enemies. This one is from the desert tree, and it has like a unique mechanic where if it gets damaged, it changes his state, and he goes from a walking enemy to a flying enemy that shoots
Cool.
projectiles into you. So it actually has like an interactive thing where if you don't damage it, it's pretty harmless. It just walks around on the tree and follows you, tries to melee you.
Yeah.
But if you damage, it goes flying and shoots around. So
Are these the ones? While I was crawling around on some of the stalks, I noticed like if you didn't do anything to them, they kind of left you alone. But then suddenly there'd be like 10 of them, and then you kind of get in trouble if you pissed one of them off. But
no, that I think that was the snitch that tends to.
Okay.
Yeah, the little snitch stuffs. We call them snitches because from the snitch from Harry Potter. I don't know if that's trademarked or anything, but they kind of look like that, so we just call them that. Also, this
really
one
cool.
here is a funny enemy. I don't know if you met him on the tree.
I think I did.
So what he does, he has two versions, the small one and the big one. The small one jumps on your arms and start biting you. You have to grab them and throw them off, or just image him with some. And the big one are even funnier because that jumps into your face. And that can be a cool experience in VR when something just jumps onto your face. And
yeah, I think these were the ones that were freaking me out because they're kind of chasing me, and you can't really run very far on a beanstalk. So it's like...
Yeah. And they're also fast, so
yeah. That'd be pretty cool when you have if you're playing with a friend, or air quotes for me, friend for Wookiee, but
what?
Just peeling them off someone while they're running away from them. Like...
Yeah, actually, they are synchronized in multiplayer, so
awesome.
You can grab him off from each other. So if someone got one of these stuck on his hand or his face, another player can come along and just remove it from him, or shoot it off from him.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I hope you guys will be able to try out the multiplayer as soon as it comes out.
That'd be fun. Like I said, the game is so original to me, but and I kind of told you guys this earlier because we've been talking since like the beginning of December, and we finally get to talk on the podcast. So it's been kind of crazy. But a real neat thing about your game, I kind of mentioned, is you're not always looking up, but you look up a lot, and it's actually, it feels really good because most games you kind of sink down, or if you look at your phone all day or you're on your phone a lot, like your neck gets sore from looking down. This is like a totally different experience because you're always like climbing. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, it also in the early stages, looking up too much was kind of a problem. And I mean, for some people it might still be, but I think we get around it by designing the games such that you don't always climb upwards, but they are branches that spread all around, so it kind of breaks up the up-looking part to a side venturing part, and then you go back to up-looking again, and then side venturing again, and it's like a smaller sections of gameplay, so you get mixed up, not just looking up all the time, but climbing around too.
Yeah, I found it was super neat that there's like multiple branches of beanstalks. I think you call them branches, and they're kind of like puzzles where like you're like, how the hell do I get over on that branch? Because you can see all the loot or like anything you want to mine or whatever, and it's kind of like a puzzle to get around on the whole beanstalk and get everything.
Yeah, we were amazed by the generative algorithm that we could patch together. It's really cool, and in the early days especially, we love to discover the trees that we have generated. It's really fun.
Yeah, because like I remember I climbed really high up, and I'm like, oh, I missed something way down there, so I just jumped. Like, I hope I can catch it, and just caught it. but it was kind of scary.
Yeah, actually, I was so I had height problems like all my life, and and in the early days of Beanstalker, I was like experiencing the height issues with the game, and it was really fun to discover one of your fears throughout the virtual environment. It's puts a whole different spin on the experience. But by today, I'm kind of becoming immune to height sickness, especially
Nice.
in VR. In real life, I still have some troubles, but in VR, I just got a bit desensitized, or what do you call it?
I was gonna ask about that. Like, we were outside, and the neighbor's cat climbed up a tree, and it was maybe 2 feet taller than I was, or higher up than my head, and the back of my legs had like weird twins. Like when you look up and see a ladder you want to climb up, and you get the back of my knees go wonky. And I was like, it's a cat climbing a tree, and I was affected by it. I'm like, I need to start climbing some trees again.
Yeah.
I might have some height issues. So maybe I need to hang on to PJ's backpack and that mount and just go for a ride. Just say jump. I'll be the one vomiting all the way down. But not from sickness. But, it's cool that it helps. I like to hear that stuff.
Yeah, what I still realize sometimes or do is when you go out in the game to the tree, it's at first it's not that bad, but as you start getting more loot and more stuff, you get worry more about falling down because of all the progress and yeah, it gets kind of more like a weight to falling down when you have all that stuff on you.
Yeah. That's when my palms started sweating because I'm like, I can see the exit. I have like a backpack full of crap that I got. I'm like, I don't want to die. So I was just kind of like crawling around on the beanstalk almost, like hoping nothing came at me. Thankfully, I had I think I was carrying was it a snake shotgun? Was that in the original?
Yeah,
I had
it
something
was
that would really kill things, so it felt pretty good. But I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Was that in kind of the original build?
yeah, the snake shotgun in since like I think since from the start.
Okay.
Yeah, we launched with the Desert 3 and the Tropica one back in September, and the snake shotgun is a Desert 3 based item, so it should have been in by the very first build that we released in early access.
How many biomes do you guys have right now in the game?
We have 3, and the Tropica one and the desert one. Those you can see in the video. And I'm not sure if I didn't see the Arctic one there. Maybe it's not in this video.
It's in there for a little bit. Yep.
Yeah, it's actually in there. Yes. So these 3 biomes we have. We was planning to expand on it by 1 more biome, but we dropped that, at least for now, because we want to focus more on the gameplay and the features to get everything more smooth, and also on the multiplayer.
Sure.
So we like to focus on these things first, and because of that we dropped the 3rd biome.
I like some of the crazy enemies in here. Like somebody's taking a battle axe to a snowman and a suit of armor.
Yeah, I mean, the whole idea about this game was to, as you start playing, when you're close to the ground on the first level, everything is kind of normal, like small spiders and small bees. And as you went upwards, it's getting a bit more crazier, like larger spiders and creatures that you don't really meet in real life.
Yeah.
And we kind of wanted to, continue this explanation of enemies or getting everything weirder with the other trees. And by the third biome, the Arctic, ideas get a little hectic, and we get all kinds of weird stuff in there.
Yeah, can you explain a little bit? So when you leave a beanstalk, you kind of go back to this little, was it like a house, like a cabin almost, and you can kind of do
We
a
call
bunch of stuff.
them extraction points. So,
And that's where you can craft and kind of. I think you have like a chest where it's kind of like a bank. Is that true?
the game goes like so you have the tree house. We call it tree house, which is kind of like the base of your operations. That's where you go back when you get out of the tree from the extraction
Gotcha.
point. So basically after you collected resources on the tree and stuff, you go back to your tree house, and you can craft new stuff. Also, we have a bunch of mechanics there, so you can read the craft books, to look up what kind of stuff you want to craft. Also, we have the quest system there, where you can look at your quests, and if you complete anything, you get the resources when you got back from the tree.
Nice.
So yeah, those kinds of stuff. Also, we have some. We planned more books to the game to read, but not to actually read, because reading in VR is kind of a weird thing. I don't really like it because the words can get all like fuzzy. So we wanted to put as little text to our game as possible. We kind of couldn't do that with the tutorial, sadly. But with the books, we wanted to have more pictures and more like pictograms all around than text, because it's easier for the eye. So we wanted more books about the enemies, but it's kind of low priority stuff right now, so we might have to drop that too. But we have a new book that came out recently, in the game, and it contains like a credits kind of stuff, where everyone has his every developer has a picture of him and his name attached to it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you can flip through the developers.
How weird is it to look at yourself in VR in that book?
Yeah, it's this whole adventure, if you can call that, about game development and VR development was kind of a weird experience for me. It was a mixed bag of emotions and feelings.
So yeah, we normally will try and ask like your background and stuff. So how did you get into like game development, and like how did you guys settle on VR?
Yes, so back then I was at the university learning computer science, and I was always playing around in Unity, so I love Unity. The other engines can be good, like I heard about Godot and the Unreal Engine. A lot of people use those, and there's a little fight going in between the engines, like my one is the best, my one is the best.
Yeah.
The other engines they can be good. I don't have much experience with them, but I just fucking love Unity, man. It's
You heard it here, folks. Fucking loves Unity.
It's really cool. I have like I don't know 6 or 7 years of experience in Unity by now,
Nice.
It's not all like actively working. It's only 2 or 3 years when I actively like worked in Unity, but I was always using it as a hobby tool and doing little projects in it. And I came to love it. So yes, I was actually in university with one of my friends, and my friend he found a guy who invested in us and helped us financially do the
Cool.
first steps. So the three of us put together a little studio that is the VR Storm studio. And the VR part was actually coming from a weird angle because my friend was at the event with this guy, and there was like a VR game that you can try out on this event. And he actually said that we can do a better game that was on display on this event in a week, hands down.
Wow.
So I found myself that I had to develop a VR game for Quest in a week without any earlier experience with professional game development.
Wow.
So we did a few of these small VR games for like small events for small Hungarian companies, and we went out for some events where you can, you know, it was like a public event and people came along, and we did a small game to the company that hired us, and people put on the VR headsets and they can try out that small game, like shooting around, but in like branded environment for the company. And after the third or second of these small games, the guy who financially supported us was like already convinced that we can make games in VR, and he wanted to make like a bigger project. And that's when the Beanstalkers story starts.
That's awesome. Is there a big draw for VR in your area, or is it kind of like underground yet, or?
Yeah, there are not much VR users in Hungary, especially PC VR. So what I find is it's still a bit expensive for like
Sure.
an average user, especially PC VR, because you need like a pretty beefy computer.
Yeah.
Which is hard to come by right now. So with all the pandemic and the Bitcoin stuff going around, getting a beefy PC is not small task.
That still kind of boggles my mind, because like when we first got into VR, it's like, oh, I need like $5,000, and it's like, why does it have to be so much? And then here comes the Quest, and it's a cell phone processor, and it's like, good enough. It's like, well, where's the middle ground? Like, why can't you just do some VR on any computer? Like, come on. So strange.
Yes, I mean, I'm still, but we are still waiting where this whole VR stuff will settle. Right now, our eyes are mainly on the Quest, because to be frank, it's Quest has the largest player base by far in VR.
Yep. Yeah, it's also taking over PC VR. Like the Steam numbers, I think it was last month, it was like, what, 55 or 60% of all headsets on Steam was Quest 2?
Yeah,
pretty...
As I said, the main problem with Steam VR is that first it must have a cable on you, which people don't like that much. But I think that's not a big enough reason to make this large of switch to. I mean, if you look at the graphics on Quest and look at the graphics on PC VR, like with a beefy PC, it's like not even comparable right now. But what the Quest has is that it's really cheap, and you don't even need a computer for it to run. So,
yep,
that's a large thing.
And if you happen to have a computer, you can use virtual desktop because I was playing Beanstalker on my Quest 2 wirelessly with virtual desktop perfectly. It was just like so neat.
Yeah, we are using Quest too, so we love the Quest actually. We are in the office. We are working mostly from Quest. At the early days, we had some troubles with the Quest application. Like it wasn't that stable, but that was 2 years ago, and right now it's mostly fine.
Nice.
So we had issues like there was a version difference between the Quest headset and the Quest application every time a new update came out. So we couldn't work for a week because because there was a version difference and we couldn't connect the Quest to the PC.
That's rough.
But it's all solved now. It's good to use now.
So growing up, were you much of a gamer as a child, or did you just kind of get into it in college, or?
No, I was a gamer since I'm born.
Nice. What's your favorite childhood game from when you were young?
One of the first games I spent a lot of time with was Age of Empires 2.
Nice.
Well, actually, not Age of Empires 2. It had a spin-off game on the same engine. Star Wars one.
Yeah.
It's basically the same like Age of, but with Star Wars.
I'm trying to remember. Is it Galactic Battlegrounds?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, I played that. Yeah, that was good.
So that was one of my first games.
Yeah, you could kill Jar Jar in that game. It was awesome.
Yes.
I would send a whole squad of Gungans into their death every time I played.
Yeah, and from that I went to the next big one was Team Fortress 2.
Sure.
And yeah, but I can sit here and talk for hours about all the games I played and all the experiences I have collected throughout the years.
Yeah. Go on. No, I'm just kidding. So with Beanstalkers, do you guys have like a timeline? Are you looking to kind of develop the game over a couple years, or are you looking to go to a new IP or game, or?
Right now, the plan is to release multiplayer, polish up the mechanics as much as we can, and then go to a full release from early access. And that will mark the end of the Beanstalker lifecycle for now. I mean,
Sure.
if the community develops around it from the multiplayer release and it gets much more traction that it has right now, we might be able to continue with the updates and the new developments. But if that not happens, we already planning our next IP, and we will go with that one.
Awesome. Yeah, from like I said, I played it months ago. The winter expansion wasn't out or anything, but like I didn't have any issues. It felt polished. It ran smooth. I was, like I said, flying around, not getting sick. So I thought it was great. I definitely need to hop in after watching your videos and checking. I want to check out your multiplayer, but the snow map, like that ice biome, looks really neat.
The Arctic. We call it the Arctic.
Okay, Arctic. There's that big bird flying around in there. Cool. So, being in the VR space, what are you guys' thoughts on the state of VR, and what are you kind of hoping happens in the future, like in the next couple years with VR?
Yes. it's more like a personal point from me that VR is still in its early days.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at PC gaming or mobile gaming, for example, for PC, it took like 20 or 30 years for the basic mechanics to develop out from multiple games and multiple titles. And then they settled pretty well, and all of the games using that. So I mean, like the first-person shooters, the third-person shooters, the role-play games, they are not much new around the base mechanics. So the way you control the game and the way you move around in it, it takes some time for those mechanics to cook up. And for VR, we are still waiting for these mechanics to settle and to different studios to build on them. So, for example, if you look at the Half-Life title, Half-Life Alyx, it was a pretty good. It laid down some basics. So what Steam did or Valve did with that one is like they laid down the foundations, guys. This is how VR game should look. This is how it should function. This is how you can do fun mechanics. Just take some of this and make good VR games. And we are still waiting for these mechanics to settle and to build out to their best form. And then other studios, like smaller studios, can then use them up and make some new fun things with them.
So, and that's where you guys got your face hugger version? Flying at your face?
Yes. No, actually, it was unrelated from Half-Life, but now that you say it, it's similar.
It's not a standard I want to see in every game. Basically, it's great. But I remember being in school and somebody playing first Half-Life, and they said they had a nightmare from the things hanging down from the ceiling that would crunch you. You like walk through a hallway and didn't know it was there. It would just like grab you, and all you'd hear was crunching before you die. And he would just try to hit Alt F4 because he like crunching noise. And then he was getting nightmares from it, and I was like, dude, what are you talking about? I had never even heard of Half-Life. Like, I can't sleep anymore. We don't need face huggers and crunching stuff at all. We need to. He didn't anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, developers always try to like punch through the staleness of the game, like something that might cause nightmares in one people. For some experienced gamers, it doesn't even hit the level of level of excitement for them. You always have to make something bigger, something to beat the competition.
Yeah. Technology's always got to stress the hardware. Poor game makers always have to stress out PJ in VR because he doesn't like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, cool. I want to try out the multiplayer update and get hit by a griffin in the snow. It's fun.
Yeah, the snow level was turned out great too.
Arctic.
It took so much time to balance everything out, especially for the last few levels. I mean, it's a crazy amount of work went into this. Just the sheer amount of balance that we had to do, like testing and balancing and testing over again, and it took months until we could get like a stable gameplay. Where, especially with the random generation, like the procedurally generated tree, it's hard to plan balance ahead.
Yeah, I bet. Because you can stuff that's not randomized, you can see it, tweak it. But if it's all generated by code that's nested inheriting from other code,
yeah, it is. If you're planning a not generated game like some basic layout, you can like put 3 things on the table and you know the player will find that. And you can hide some other stuff under the table and you know that the player might find that and might not find that. And you can calculate the for example, the crafting and the amount of enemies from that, because you know what resources the player will have. But with randomly generated stuff, you have to get more into the math of things. Like the player will probably get this amount of items, and from that he can probably make this. And from that on, it even gets more convoluted. So
yeah. If they're supposed to be, by the time they hit the boss, they should have hit, 10% chance to get all of these materials, and 10% chance to get this, and 50% chance of that. But then, what if it doesn't work? Do you crank those percent chances, or?
Yeah, we played around a lot with the drop chances in the game. So, for example, there is the little wood parts that you can grab off the tree. If you played it, you probably found that one. There's a lot around the tree, and you can use it for multiple things. So you can use it to craft stuff, and you can also have to use it to heat up the oven or the forge, where you can smelt your ores and get the iron and stuff. And we cranked up. One player said that there isn't enough. One of our testers isn't enough little tree wood stuff, so we cranked it up. And one of my friends came in to test the game. He brought his own PC and he was with us for 2 days. So he tested the game for 2 days. He was really big help. And he said that there isn't enough wood stuff. So different players play differently.
Yeah, balance has got to be one of the trickiest things.
Yeah,
because everyone's so different. But
I don't remember which game I was talking about with my girlfriend, but ages back, if they play old like Japanese RPGs, she said she always would like try to avoid the fight, and then she'd be underpowered by the time you get to the boss because you don't level up from all the fight. And then you have me who's like looking at every inch of the map, practicing the combat all the way through, killing everything, and then the boss is like super simple. So, and I think she's got a stigma from some of that too. She says like, if she gets to the stressful part in like old Super Nintendo, like Mario, she might not be able to beat Bowser or something like that. She'd have to hand the controller to somebody else. I'm like, if you'd sat there and killed everybody and wasted everything in your path, you wouldn't mind the Bowser fight. It's just different people play completely different.
And it's a weird question from a game design point of view, because what if the player doesn't want to fight?
Right.
Yeah.
So what the developer gonna do about it? We actually have the bees in the game that come and attack you, and it was my girlfriend who said that. But bees are nice, so why we have to fight bees?
Why are you turning the nice bees into enemies?
Yeah. Pollinators
game developers.
That's funny.
So it's just weird stuff that when you develop a game or doing game design, you just kind of doesn't think about them.
It's true.
And one of these things that came up is a lot of the enemies, especially in the first levels, are based on spiders or actual spiders. And we doesn't expect it that's at all, but after we were already working for a year or more on the game when we got released, and one of the players or many of the players were like they have arachnophobia, and can we remove the spiders?
Yeah, you almost have to include an option in the menu, like turn spiders into something else, like a button.
Yeah.
Because we have a couple of friends like that, like from the podcast Let's Talk Oculus. Dan, the main guy there, he's afraid of spiders. So every time I'm playing a game that a spider thing happens, I record the video and send it to him. He's like, knock it off. Like,
Yes, so there was a lot of feedback to change spiders or remove spiders, and we really wanted to do that, but it just takes up too much developer time.
yeah.
And I don't know if we will afford to do that. We would do it if we could afford to.
I would be a jerk and it'd be like, grabbing the mic input and be like, I noticed there's a spider coming at you and you screamed really loud. Would you like to turn the spider into something else? Push the button and the spider just gets bigger and scarier. And then it never goes back to being normal.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
Gross hairy legs, all that stuff.
Yeah, it is interesting. I mean, just from a game developer's point of view, like you said, like who knows, like what percentage of people have arachnophobia? So you wouldn't even think about it if you don't. So you're like, I can kill a couple spiders, big deal. But someone else, like, I can't even play that game because it's got a spider in it. Like,
when I first got into Skyrim and modding, I noticed one of the most popular downloaded things was to turn the spiders into something else. And I thought it was a joke because I didn't even think of that until I read the description. I'm like, oh yeah, like one of the first quests, you're saving some dude from like a big spider, web egg stack. And it's a big ass spider in the dungeon. Like, oh, I guess that would freak you out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I never thought of that. But spiders they belong there. They're creepy.
yeah.
Yeah, but you can
hit the
do
mute
it.
button.
What's that?
I bumped the mute button, so I just want to make sure I was still talking.
That's
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, and balancing in games and trying to figure out how players play. It's like PJ and I played some co-op stealth games in the past. Tenchu on the 360 and Assassin's Creed. Sometimes they have some modes, but it's like you have to kill everybody to get enough points to level up. But like, what about the skill of like not killing anybody all the way through the mission and still, making it out with the loot? And they don't really reward those players. It's like, it's not my fault.
Yeah, you just mentioned Skyrim before, and they did it really smartly because no matter what you do, you level up some skill in Skyrim. Like,
Yeah.
if you manage to avoid a fight, you level up your sneak.
Yep.
So you can actually level up just by not engaging with stuff, and that's really smart.
There's still some skill involved, they should do that. But it's like, if you're playing a shooter game where you're not supposed to get spotted, you can try not to kill everybody, but you don't get any of those skill points. You don't get any, reimbursement for it. But if you do kill people, you got to hide the bodies. There's multiple facets, not just spotted and not spotted. It's like they're not taking advantage of all these intricacies.
Yeah. Yeah, game development is definitely hard, and we made many mistakes throughout the game design and game development. But since this was our first title, and we keep learning.
Yeah.
I think if this is your kind of big first rodeo and you've got multiplayer coming, a lot of people don't even make it that far. So that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm really happy how this whole venture turned out. We got much more further than I have ever expected to get.
Awesome.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoy the game, so I think you guys have done amazing. And I haven't even played the second half of it probably now that you've added to it, so be fun to get back in there.
Yeah.
So we're coming up on our hour. I don't want to keep you any longer, but is there anything we didn't get to talk about that you wanted to touch on, or? Anything like that?
No, I'm fine. The main message from me is to try out the game and try out multiplayer. And yeah, that's all.
Cool.
And go get some sleep.
Yeah, I probably should.
So anyone watching or listening, there'll be links in the show notes to the Steam page and all that, and your Twitter and all that fun stuff. So in our time zone, the multiplayer will be in beta. When do you expect like an actual release that people can actually check it out?
I'm not sure about your time zone, but it's let me do a quick head count. So it's 3 a.m. for us right now, and the game will be out at around 4 p.m. So
Nice.
it's 13 hours from now.
Awesome.
You can do the math backwards from that.
I can't wait to get Wookie up on a beanstalk and push him off.
I'm still trying to do the math.
Well, we appreciate your
thank you
time
for
and
everything,
joining
guys.
us. Yeah, it was
Yeah, I
fun.
appreciate you stopping by.
Like I
Glad we
said,
were able to record.
Yeah. Like I said, we've been talking since December, so it's felt like finally we get to do this, so it was nice. And
Yeah,
like,
we are having a lot of stuff to do, so it's not easy to come up with the dates for this event.
oh yeah.
Yeah, understandable.
But yeah, I got a couple of videos of me playing the game. Like I said, if Wookie and I end up getting a chance to play it together, and we'll make some silly videos and get into some shenanigans.
I will
Thank you, guys.
probably scream like a little girl. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It'll be high pitched and funny.
I hope you guys will manage.
Adios.
Well, thank you,
Bye-bye.
sir. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for inviting.
Anytime.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
More fun to bow with pill hands.
Yeah. I really want to go shoot someone with a shield.
The pill hands fit right in the
Oh, that's funny.
crossbow grip. I know that's for your like forearm. It works.
Well, everyone watching and listening, just want to take a moment to say we're glad to be back doing the podcast. It's been too long. We're in our new home thanks to Justin at Tab Games, Cyril at Garage Collective, a couple other people. Yeah, I'll zoom in on their logos, but Wookie spent a lot of time getting us here. We're going to keep adding and doing stuff, cool stuff,
Hopefully.
so come back.
But it's thanks to these two guys that we have any of this sitting here. So people listening, not watching, we're pointing at posters and logos in the wall.
Yeah, we'll get back to where we can have anyone join the audience, and get in on the conversation and do some fun things, and be a lot of fun. Get back to giving away game keys and all kinds of stuff.
Yep.
This guy needs a saddle. I just tried to jump.
You know, I keep doing that too. And I think I keep muting myself.
Exactly.
It's the A button.
Yeah. But thanks everyone for hanging out, listening, and watching. We'll be back